Okay, so again, I'm just going to repeat this for the sake of just logging on for people who are watching this recorded. I am Sarah Crawford. I am an exclusive Purple presenter with Unique, and I'm going to be talking today about leadership, just growing and leading a team. So a little bit about my story. I did start last October. I hit Purple in March of this year, so I hit Purple in about 5 months. The reason I started Unique originally is because I am a makeup artist. I just wanted to market the products to my customers, and that's really was my focus for the first about 60 days. That's when my best friend joined me, my sister-in-law joined me, I think one other person. That's when I started thinking about, like, okay, some people are kind of interested in this. Maybe this is something I could do as a business. I worked on getting a few hostesses, but really my business didn't launch until about January. That's when it really started hitting the ground. I tell you guys, in January, Team Luminous was 12. We had 12 or 14 girls. And now here in August, we sit here with just under 200 presenters, which is really amazing. And so we've seen a lot of growth. And so I've had to learn quick on my feet when it comes to leading a team and learning that it is okay to fail, that you're going to fail regularly and often, and letting yourself fail and feel it and learn from it. I did not go into this with like leadership training. I was a professional wedding photographer for the last 6 years. My professional training actually was in my nursing degree, which I decided I went through nursing school. I was like, this is not what I want to do. I wanted to be a professional photographer, did really well in my photography company. We booked all over internationally. Actually, we were really busy. My husband and I did it together. But as I started having kids, the traveling and stuff just wasn't working out. So I got my makeup artistry degree. Thought I would just do small in-town stuff, combining makeup looks with kind of high-end, more editorial work. That's what my goal was. And then ended up loving makeup so much. That's what led me to Unique. My really good friend and fellow natural birthing mama that I met through having my first son is my sponsor, Brienne. And she was the one that said, okay, girl, seriously, you need to be doing this. You should at least look at the products. And so she still tells everybody I'm the only person she's ever approached about the business. She's always let everybody else come to her, but she knew that I did makeup. And so she came to me. I hosted a party, and all I heard the whole time were girls like, oh my gosh, like freaking out about the mascara the whole time. And so that's when I decided, like I said, to sell the products to clients. And then what ended up happening was what we are all sitting here doing today. So I will say that leading your team is where you're going to spend the majority of your time in this company. You can do great with your own PRS, and a lot of you do, but when you can learn how to grow, start, and really get a solid team underneath you, that's when you literally just start like flying through the ranks of this company. And so every single one of you are leaders in some area of your life already. So some of you are already leaders in Unique. We have, 2 of our greens sitting here. Several of you are pinks. Several of you are on your way to pink, yellows, and anybody in the other areas of your life too. If you're a mom, you're a leader. If you're, I'm sure any single person in here, even if you aren't a mom, you're a leader in some area of your life. And so I think that letting even the principles of this overflow, it's very similar to branding. When you have a business page, being that person on your personal page and on your business page and being consistent, this is the same thing. When you follow leadership principles throughout every area of your life, you really start seeing a different level of success in your business and in your personal life, and your confidence and everything. It all kind of starts going up together. So even if you're sitting here and you may not have a downline yet, that's okay. That doesn't mean that this doesn't apply to you, because what you learn now and what you apply in your personal life and in your business as you get going, that is really what makes your company as you get going, and it helps you start a lot stronger. So the first step really to leading a team is sponsoring. And I would say of all leadership questions that leaders get, it's the number one is always sponsoring. Like, how the heck do I sponsor? I'm not getting any sponsors, or I'm not sponsoring anybody. The biggest thing, and it does tie into what Marty was talking about, is the concept of we share, we do not sell. And that comes into your brand. That comes into how you produce your images and your selfies and your videos and everything. It's a great suggestion to follow leaders who are doing a great job in sponsoring in our company. Like I said, Angela Roper, She sponsored, I think, over 80 girls at this point, and she started, I think she just hit her 1 year. She just hit 100, okay. And she just started a year ago. She just had her 1 year anniversary, I think, like a few weeks ago, somewhere around convention. And so watch her posts, see how she's posting. She very rarely even talks about the fact that she's wearing makeup in a picture. She's always talking about just, they're very subtle, and they're clever, and that's how she's done all of her sponsoring, is through her personal Facebook page. She doesn't even, I don't even know if she runs a business page. If she does, it's not her main thing. Her main thing is operating her personal page in a way that attracts people. So something that I always tell people to look up, and you can YouTube it, study attraction marketing. That is one of the first things that I did starting about in January. Attraction marketing is everything. I understand a lot of people, and I was too, I did not want to use my personal Facebook. I did not want to contact my friends. I did not want to beat down the doors of my family members and be like, you have to try this product because it's spammy and it's gross. And I thought that that's what direct sales was. That's why my mom can tell you, I was mentored under a millionaire in a direct sales company when I was like 21. It was nutritional, and it was so spammy and gross. And I was just like, I want nothing to do with this. I did really well. Then I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like, I don't care if I'm a millionaire. If I'm not happy, this is pointless. So I did have, threw that part out of my story earlier. So I swore off direct sales forever. And because of that reason, it just felt like if I couldn't be a real friend to people, if people felt like the only reason I was talking to them was because of the company, like that's just, ew, like nobody wants that. I want to be a person. So study the law of attraction. Attraction marketing, that is the concept of sharing, not selling. If you look at my posts, you can, you see how I post. Every person that I've sponsored has sponsored because of my personal page. It has not been because of my business page. It is because they said there's something in the way that you share things that, one, it's exciting to me, and two, like you're a believable real person. And so there's things in your wording. And so I think I've sponsored maybe 30 people now, which is it's a good number of people too. So like I said, you can follow me, follow Angela. Kara Newton is huge. She has a team over 1,700 now, 17 or 1,800. She just started a year ago. Everything's on her personal page, and she's not spammy at all. She's awesome. Like, I watch her page and I feel like I know her, and the business is just integrated, but it is not what she's, that it's not who she is. It's just part of what she does. But you bet your riches that anybody who knows her, as soon as they think of Unique, they're thinking of Kara. So the other part of sponsoring is a little bit of fake it till you make it in the beginning. What I mean when I say that is that you are going to have, typically, it does happen, so I don't want to say it that way, but a lot of people don't have just like instant, like, oh my gosh, I hit green in a month. That doesn't really happen, and we'll talk about that in just a second. However, your team's promoting all the time. You guys are on a team of almost 200 women. We're all super close. Share other people's promotions. I don't care if you know them or not. Oh my gosh, Marty went pink today, and I worked side by side with this woman. I feel like I know her. I'm so proud of her going pink. Share that, because what it feels like to people watching is movement and motion, and they're like, oh my gosh, this thing is working. So that is a little bit of the fake it till you make it. Oh my gosh, my team member just got her hostess $500 in free makeup. You can totally share those things. So anytime you see things that people are posting on their personal walls and the team, on Team Awesome, that's to clarify, Team Awesome is my sponsor's team page. So for those of you, that's okay. For those of you who didn't know what Team Awesome was, Brianne, my sponsor, her big team is Team Awesome. I just stuttered and said that twice. But anyway, so faking it till you make it, share other people's posts. It's yours. They're your team. They're your coworkers. They're the people that you are inspired by. So definitely feel free to share that. Share every shred of confidence boosting new person that you get. If, like I said, if you book a party, thank you so much, whoever, for your order. I know you're gonna love your lashes. Post that on your personal wall. Kara Newton does it all the time, but it's all in how you word it. Just don't throw in, so if you want to order your lashes from me too, here's my link. You nix all that out of there. You just, like I said, I think the other day, an example that comes to mind of sharing, not selling, I got kombucha for the first time, and I took a picture with it. My lashes looked really awesome that day, and I told my husband, I was like, man, my lashes look really good today. I need to find something to show my lashes. I'm not just going to take a picture of my lashes. So when I got my kombucha, I'm like, this is my first kombucha ever. So I shared that. But then like 3 people noticed, like, oh my gosh, your lashes look amazing. That sharing, not selling. I never said a word about the mascara, but people are going to notice your lashes. So that's just, lip stain, whatever, So anyway, let people come to you. That's the whole law of attraction, is I'm just putting it out there all the time, using my personal page, and let people come to you. Because when people come to you, it feels like their idea. It is their idea. It's a little bit like Inception in that my kombucha was about my lashes. It was. But the more that you do that in a way that people, like I said, they feel like they know you, and it comes through branding. I brand myself as the crunchy mom who's also super sparkly and loves makeup and to get dressed and pretty. So that's what I market all the time, is crunchy mom meets makeup girl. And that's what I market. So just, if you don't know your brand, that's okay. Just be real and share any little tidbit of your life that, comes to mind. Like I said, you're thinking of, how do I show off my lip stain today? Think of a way to do it other than saying, check out my lip stain. So that's sponsoring. Seriously, that's it. That's how I've sponsored everybody. My personal page, posting about life. Once you have a team, it is vital that you lead by example. I am going to read a little bit of my notes because that's just how I am. I think you guys know that, or else I get scattered and I talk too much. Do not ask your team to do anything that you're not doing in your own personal business. This is huge. I would never ask you guys to go blitzing if I'm not blitzing. I would never ask you guys to book hostesses if I'm not busting my butt to book hostesses, because the moment that I become synthetic and fake and I'm not doing those things anymore, it trickles down. Like, even if they don't know, you guys may never know, there's still something synthetic and not real about the way that I'm putting those things out there. So I always encourage you to be the pace car in your team. You need to be setting the goals for PRS. You need to be setting the goals for parties and new ideas and thinking through all of those things. And if you can do that now, even before you have team members, think about, again, like what that does once you do have people. You're going to attract them to you already. And then on top of that, you have so much emotion. You're like, a girl on fire that's running, and people want to run at your pace and like, whoa, like we're really going. So I've seen girls join and they have 3 and 4 team members, and they're going pink and they're going blue, and they're just flying through promotions because they're setting the pace at which their team is running. So never feel like, even if you don't have a lot of a downline yet, doesn't mean that you don't have to be running now. The other thing I want to share is that your entire downline is your team. So if you have sponsored 2 people, and those 2 people are flipping rock stars, and they have 20 people underneath each of them, and you say, oh, I have 2 people on my team, that is a lie. You have 42, because every girl underneath your 2 girls is your team. So own that, because the truth is, I don't think everybody is a sponsoring diva. You may be really good at getting a handful of super, super strong women. Well, guess what? To be black, you only need 4 people to go elite, ever. That's all that you ever have to produce from your personal sponsors that you've done. So you only need to ever have 4 rock stars. So if that's not you and you're not sponsoring crazy, but you get the girls who are, that's black, guys. Like, and I love that about our compensation plan. You don't have to sponsor 100 people, but if that's your strong suit, it may take you 100 people to find your 4 rock stars. And so you may be really strong in quality versus quantity, or quantity versus quality, and you have to kind of learn how to sift through that. So definitely, I don't care if people are your 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th gen, they are your team. And so get to know each and every person on your team. I try to know every single person, all 200 of you. And sometimes when we go through these like sponsoring spurts, like last month, I'm like, holy cow, I don't even know like who their sponsor is. So I will start messaging you guys and be like, hey, because I want to know you. I want to know why you're in your company. Like, why are you in this company? What are your goals? I want to know those things about you, because it's my job, because you are my team and I am responsible for you, and I'm responsible that you're getting the training you need. And so I encourage you guys to do the same thing. The last little tidbit on that is that leaders, we cannot coast. We do not take extended breaks, because when you do, your whole team goes with you. It is just a law of momentum. And so I will talk a little bit more about what happens when life happens and I need an extended break. We'll talk about that in a second. So I do want to talk about how to identify the rising leaders in your company. The first step to identifying your leaders is getting to know your back office. So even before you have a team, that's why we do have videos in our startup guide about getting to know your back office, because when somebody joins you, you're going to need to know how to track their progress, to know who your leaders are, who they're not. So as soon as you even have one team member, you need to know how to track their progress, and you need to know how to track your own. So definitely knowing your back office is your first step. When you go to your back office, you can look at those that, as you know, you get into a few months, you'll look at those who are just falling short of their next promotion. Like, oh man, if they're above 50% of that promotion, then you know, okay, that person's headed for pink or blue or whatever, or yellow or wherever they're at. So encourage them, even white, qualifying white. Just look at where they're at and track that, and pay attention to the people who are getting stronger every month. Their PRS was $200 their first month. Their PRS is $500 this month, and now they're $1,200, but they're not sponsoring. And so you can look at that person, grab them, understand like, oh my gosh, this person's a rock star. We need to get some team members underneath them so they don't burn themselves out. But that's how you start identifying the people underneath you, the people who are getting stronger every month, or the people who, even the other thing I like to mention here is when you have the people who are struggling, if they're sitting at 0 and they're not producing, or they were producing, then all of a sudden they start trickling downward, you really need to start contacting those people because they need coaching, they need support. There's something not right. So make sure that you're reaching out to those people, contact them, validate them, encourage them, and just ask those people, your rock stars, the people who are growing, and the people who need coaching, what can I do to further help coach you? And so I do want to get into actual mentorship here in just a second and how that kind of progresses as we work through all of this together. When you are just starting your team, you should start all of these mentoring steps with every single person from the very beginning. This isn't something you have to wait for until you're months in and you see, oh, now I know who my rock stars are. When you're just starting, consider every single person, the people who are running with you, and work through all the mentorship steps that we're going to talk about in just a second to help them get starting off on the right foot. Once you have found your key leaders, I like to talk about the concept, and this is probably the hardest for me, is the concept of running with your runners. It is the chickens versus eagles concept. Not every person is going to be your runner. There are people that are going to join that don't want black, and that is okay. It is more than okay. This is a business of self-discovery. People are going to need to work at the level that they want. And so definitely understand, though, that if you are running for black or you are running for green or whatever you're running for, you need to identify the people in your company that are also running so that you can run together. And I like to plug in here, and I hate to say this, the reason it's hard for me is because my heart is I want everybody to be black. I want everybody to run with me. I want everybody to think this is the best thing in the entire world. It's just not real. It's not realistic. That's not the way it is. So I'm learning as a leader that everybody, just like how you raise all your kids differently because they're completely different people, you have to run your team and run with each person differently. So learning to identify the people that are going to get you to the top of the company, if that's where you want to be, that's really key to helping you save your energy and helping you to really, not burn yourself out. Something that I heard that was a great analogy is the concept of it being like a tennis match. When you have the people in your team that you see great potential in, think about it like you're playing a game of tennis. Like, I'm going to challenge you, okay, you say you want pink this month, so I want you to make a list of 10 people to contact for our party, balls in your court. If that person just, oh, well, I don't know, a month goes by, hey, how's pink going? I know you're running for it. Did you ever contact those hostesses? Well, no. That they took the ball and like chucked it over the fence the other direction. They stopped playing ball with you. So that's how you can start to identify what I call energy suckers, people who are always presenting their problems and never willing to work through them, to try something new, to generate their new ideas. Those people will just take every good idea you have and chuck it over the fence. So just be aware of those kinds of people. You don't have to give them all of your time, because the truth is you can't want this business more than they do. You just can't. And so understanding that there will be those people, that they may have great intentions, but great intentions doesn't always equate people who are actually maximizing their potential and then utilizing your efforts well. So it is okay to let those people kind of go and do what they're going to do. Be there for questions, be there for support when they need it, but they're not going to be your close, mentored, running together people. Run with those who are really working their business. Brianne just posted another great video on Team Awesome of, are you really working your business? What that looks like, income producing activities and that sort of thing. If you have somebody that every time you offer something, they're meeting you with an excuse, They're not a runner, at least not for now. And that's okay. So let's talk about mentoring your leaders. Becky is going to talk about an awesome system for organizing your team tomorrow, so I'm not going to touch on that. But there's a great way to organize your contact with your team. But regular communication is huge. And again, when I say team, I mean every single person that shows up in your back office. Regular communication is key. It's hard to know the communication frequency because some of us grow really well on our own fruition. We are, give me this thing, I'm gonna grab it, I'm gonna run. Don't talk to me, I don't need your questions. Some people are just wired that way. Other people really grow well through being pursued, and they wanna feel pursued. They wanna feel like the person who brought them into this company is really reaching out to them regularly. You know what, you won't know what kind of person you have unless you ask them. So it is key that you are asking the people, are they driven by communication? Are they driven by space to do it themselves? Both of those are totally okay, and you're probably wired one way or the other. I'm wired more to be chased after, just because I like to feel pursued, but some people hate that, and it feels like you're breathing down their neck and like you're wanting things from them. So again, just ask in the very beginning when they first sign up, or if you have a team already, just backdate it and go through and be like, hey, I'm really working on growing my leadership. And something I've never asked you, I'd love to ask you is, how do you grow best? Is it when I'm pursuing you for communication, or is it when you have some space? And it's okay to ask those. People love those questions. I can tell you that now. People love getting those questions from you. They never feel like, ooh, why would you ask me something like that? No, they're like, my sponsor really cares about my business, or my upline really cares about my business. And even if I'm not even working it super hard right now, it really means a lot to me that she cares. So those things are always great to ask. Another great question. Ask them how many hours they're willing to work their business every week. That's something even all of us should ask ourselves that question. Can I work 5 hours? Can I work 4 hours? Can I work 20 hours? And then you can set realistic goals based upon the hours that you're able to work. And that goes into your team. So how many hours are you willing to work? This definitely helps with goal setting. I would recommend weekly check-ins at least. Phone conversations and hangouts are best, especially for your people you're running with. So that's more of the people you're strongly mentoring. If you do have those people that are kind of, no, I'm good, I'm just kind of doing this, I'm just going to figure it out, I would say once a month, I think is reasonable. But not just Facebook messaging. At least if you're going to use Facebook voice messenger, so people can hear your tone and your voice and that you care. There's something very sterile about Facebook messaging sometimes because you can't hear the tone and that sort of thing. So something that I'm working on is the art of learning how to ask effective questions. And what I mean by effective questions, they are the open-ended how, what, where, and when. And the reason that they are effective is because you're teaching that other person to think through their business. It's a leadership tactic. It's something that I think is very vital in leadership. So effective questions are very simple. How do you feel about your unique business? That's an effective question. It's open-ended. It can be completely tailored to that person's life. It can be, you're just gonna get straight, unfiltered, no expectation. You're not telling them, because a bad effective question or an ineffective question would be, are you liking your unique business? Well, now they feel like they have to say yeah, because they're in the business with you. Yes. Well, what if they're really struggling? You won't know because of the way you ask the question. So it's an open-ended question that allows them to fill in the blank with whatever they're struggling with or succeeding in their life. So what do you want more of? What is stopping you? What is possible? When will you make this happen by? All of those are effective questions, and you're really causing that person to discover the business and think for themselves, because as leaders, we do not want to think for those people. We do not want to give them our opinion. We want them to discover for themselves these very things. And thinking through those things, it's empowering for them. And that's how you create leaders underneath you and not just people that are following you. We don't want to run a business of followers. We want to run a business of leaders. That's where we become very, very strong. So you're not directing on how to answer. You're just forcing them to come up with a custom answer that really applies to their life. So your opinion has no place in a coaching session with one of the people on your team. This is really hard for me because I'm actually a very opinionated person, and I feel like I like to give those yeah, that's a great idea. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you chose that. No, leave that out of it. Instead, just, that's great. Yes, you are absolutely going to be able to accomplish that. Make it about them. Let them think through it for themselves. Find out their why. We always say that the why in Younique is their Super Bowl. It is like the epitome of everything they're working toward. So then get in that game with them. Understand their why, write it down, and get in that game with them. Help them break down. And this is, I think, one of the most pivotal things is teaching your team how to break down their own goals. Some people are really good at this naturally. Other people, it's not in their wiring, and it's okay. So us as leaders, we can learn these traits. These aren't things that come naturally to me either. But help them learn how to break down their goal and then lead them to that place. Like I said, be the pace car. Do not be a hypocrite and expect them to do things that you aren't or would not do. But, you know, even asking them things like, why did you start your Younique business? And what is your why? Because your leadership role is built on respect, leading by example, staying in communication, responding to them with just affirmation and encouragement. Yes, you can do that. That's an incredible goal. That is an opinionless support affirmation. And then work your business and lead from that place of honesty. So Becky will talk about how to track these things, but you should be writing all of these things down on your team members. I'm working through this, so you'll be getting messages from me very soon. Maybe not, it'll take me like a month to get through all of you guys, to be honest with you. But I'm working through contacting each person and writing down their why, what they're wanting to go for in the company, all of those things, because that is when we can see the big picture, and then we learn how to break the big picture down. That's when we're taking things in bite-sized pieces and accomplishable goals that we can just step through and work through. And that's when we start really, we're not facing burnout, and we're not getting frustrated because we're understanding I'm just shooting for this step next, this step next. So helping our people do that will really help them to not hit that, I joined 2 months ago, I had this great launch party, or maybe my launch party totally flopped, because it totally happens to some of us, and now I have no idea what to do. So it helps us to help them break down their goals and to know how to take this in step-by-steps. So breaking it down, you've heard me say this a few times, that success absolutely loves organization. Naturally, I am not an organized person. I'm like the girl with a pile of stuff on my desk that I know where everything is, but it's in this pile. That's me. I don't do boxes. Yes, I have a filing cabinet, but
You learned it well.
yeah, I get it from my mother. However, with a business like this, you have to learn how to be organized. Because when you find a potential leader, you want to find out what level they want in the company, their why, and then break it down. Teach them how to find their leaders in their company, just like what I'm telling you guys right now. And this is where duplication starts to happen, is when you guys take what I'm learning, because I learned this from somebody else, and that duplication starts replicating, and we start growing a much more effective, strong team as a whole. So teaching them how to find their leaders, find out their people's goals and their whys, teaching them how to write it down, teaching them how to break down their people's things from the very beginning. That is going to create a stronger woman in your sponsor, in your team member, as you teach her how to do these things too. Because really, teaching is a lot of times where we learn a lot about how we're doing this ourselves. So find the missing pieces for people. Help them find it through effective questions. Not, I think, no, just through effective questions. Even if you think like where she could use some help in this area, help her discover that for herself through asking her great questions. But is she missing sales? Are her sales down a little bit? Do we need to maybe direct her in ways of getting more hostesses and parties? Is she lacking people? Do we need to really work in sponsoring? Then help her find those people in her team and teach her how to grow it. Like I said, that trickle-down effect. And then, like I said, we are writing all of it down. So I have Becky. Becky wants to go for orange. Becky, to go orange, needs to hit X, Y, Z. And on Becky's team, she has Veronica, and she has Marty, and she has Ashley. And these are the 3 people that are going to be her strong people to get her to that goal. Ashley is heading for, and I'm writing all of this down so that as I really mentor Becky, I already know all the moving pieces. So I can say, Becky, how's Ashley doing? Becky, how's Marty doing? And so I can help her as she's doing that same thing with the next level down. So that's how, Becky, who do you think your green leg is? Who's your green leg? Who do we need to pour the most time into? That's how we help people break it down, just to give it a little bit more of a real life example. So that's why writing it all down is so important, is because once you have a large amount of people and you're working with them, you will forget it. I didn't think I would forget things because I tend to not. It gets messy in there. You're like, wait a second, I forget. So write stuff down definitely helps, especially when you're a mom. Oh my gosh. So the other part of it is able to break things down into short and long-term goals. Becky wants to be black, but her next goal is maybe getting 100 team members. It may not be orange. That may not be her next goal. Maybe her next goal is 100 team members. So I need to know what's her short-term goals, what's her goal for September, what's her long-term goal, where does she want to be in the company. So that's, important also. So how are they going to get there? And they're going to get there by doing one of those maps, like I just said. It's literally like, I want black. I need 4 elites. And you're just going to break each thing down, and then we're going to take each promotion level at a time. If she's a yellow and she's a runner and she is really going after this thing and she really wants to be black, we are going to break down pink, and we're going to break down blue, and we're going to break down green. We're going to do the whole thing and help her walk through each step. And like I said, and teach her how to do that with each person. Set dates for steps to get there. Like, here's a short-term goal. I will book 3 parties by the end of the week. Or I want to be blue by the end of November. Those sorts of things. Setting those dates really help us to stay driven, especially if we're struggling in certain areas. And the concept of mascara math is really helpful to learn. It's basically when you take the retail value of what somebody needs to do to get to their next promotion, and you divide it by, in USD, we would divide it by 29. That's the amount of mascaras that they need to sell to get there. Your team needs to sell 37 mascaras for you to get blue. What do you think you guys could do from this point forward? What incentive could you do, and that sort of thing? So you're helping her think through that. And mascaras, well, I have 20 people and I only need 37 mascaras. Oh my gosh, blue's totally possible. Whereas when you're looking at a certain amount of money sitting there, sometimes it seems a little daunting. So that's where mascara comes in handy. Just take that total. Remember that team wholesales is 75% of retail, so make sure you're looking at the retail dollar and dividing that by 29, and there's your amount of mascaras your team has to sell to get that person to their promotion. I think I put this in the team, but I will say it for those who maybe didn't read it. The whole concept, and this is a general breakdown that I've done for each promotion level that I think helps give a little bit of perspective into it. If to hit pink, you on average should have about 5 people on your team, and you should be shooting for $500 in PRS that month. To hit blue, you want approximately or at least 10 people on your team and shooting for about $1,000 in PRS that month. To hit green, you want about 20 people on your team and about $2,000 in PRS. For orange, you're looking 75 to 100 people on your team, $2,500 in PRS or more. For purple, you want 200 to 400 on your team, $2,500 in PRS or more. And black, you want 500 people on your team and be shooting for that same, about 2,500 plus in PRS. Now that is a super vague thing that can sound crazy. I hit purple, like I said, I have 200 to 400 here. I think I had 60 when I hit purple. So there's exceptions. This is just a general rule of thumb. I know girls that are, I hate to say the word, I'm not gonna say that word. I know girls that are green who are trying to get past green who have 2,000 girls on their team. It's because of leadership. We're not replicating leaders. So if you can follow this model of growing strong leaders, this is a general breakdown about what you'll need. Just to get some, I'm a numbers person, I like to see things that way. So don't let it overwhelm you, because we take each thing in steps. Because as you're a pink headed for blue, well, what are you doing? You're taking all those first 5 girls and you're training them to become a pink. And so a lot of that weight of the PRS and the team sales, it starts passing down to the team. So we take promotions one at a time. We help break down each level that people are needing to get to the next place that they want to be. Teach them how to identify their leaders on their team. Teach them how to break down pink, blue, green, etc. into attainable goals for people. Like the girl who was running for green, I know she said, I'm going to sell $5,000 of this because I only have 10 people. She was super strong in Facebook parties, so she booked, oh my gosh, I think she was running 10 parties a week. And she booked them because she was so driven. It was a couple, it was 2 months out. She told her husband, I'm going to be completely MIA for all of May because I'm going green. And she booked every stinking party she could in May, and she ran for it, and she hit it. So it doesn't have to be a certain pattern, because you can do it that way. He's so tiny. So you can do it anyway. I do like to set that goal though for like, when are you running for a promotion? I think that it helps. I've continuously said, did she sell mascara? That's awesome. That's how you do it. Working from home. Nice. I love it. So I always say, like, I've always said I want to be black before this baby comes. Well, time's pressing, so I want to get some serious work done. But putting those goals and putting realistic expectations on it, it helps to keep you driven. So I think that setting dates are really great. Just understand that if it doesn't happen, it's okay. Then you set a new date, and that's not a failure. You just, what did we do really well? What didn't work so well? And you just move forward. So definitely, what month are you going to run for a promotion? Am I running for choose your promotion? And then the months leading up to that promotion, you just plan for it. Book as many parties as possible in that month that you're running for a promotion. Work on sponsoring as much as possible for that promotion. So I think having that goal, like if it's, it's August and one of you wants to hit blue in November, we'll start planning for it now. Come up with great fall themed or pre-Christmas themed parties. Like, have them done now. Start making videos now. Hang ornaments now. Just start prep it. Just get it all ready. Get it all ready. So that when it comes, like, you're like, boom, this is my blue month, and we're doing it, and you hit the ground running. That's really powerful to choose a promotion month and run. This is something I like to talk about. What do we do when we're not hitting a status that we hit before and we're not hitting it again? That's a really scary place to be. Almost a lot of people hit it in our company are there. Anytime we have hit a level and we're not hitting the level again, it just, every single time it's the same answer. You just go back to basics. And the basics of our company are book, sell, sponsor. And that's it. We don't overcomplicate it. We don't try to reinvent the wheel. We just understand that I've hit this point. I'm not hitting this point again. What do I need to do? Because maybe the girls that ran really hard with you 6 months ago, they just had life circumstances change and they're not running with you anymore. So you need new runners. So book, sell, sponsor. If you ever feel like, I'm blue, but I'm getting paid as pink every single month. What's happening? Book, sell, sponsor. Book, sell, sponsor. Book, sell, sponsor. Do not go on coast. And I know I said this already. I do like to say this a few times, because when you go on coast, you do risk losing your entire team. Truthfully, I mean that. If you do have to walk away for an extended period of time, it is your job to plug your people into your upline. So let's say your sponsor isn't super active. Well, look for the next person. The next person closest to you that you know is running an effective team that really is working with their people, that you would trust your people with. Let them know. Do not just leave whatever's going on, whether it's vacation, a struggle in the family, anything. You just got a full-time job and you know it's really going to pull you away for a while. Plug your people in. Just say something like, we're going to be going to the lake for 2 weeks. Sarah is going to be running my team while I'm gone. She is aware that you are running for pink this month, so bring all of her questions to her. I've already given her all your information from your card that I wrote down, that one. I sent a screenshot of it to her. She is expecting your contact, but she's also going to be reaching out to you. This is how we don't leave our people hanging, because one of the hardest things is when you join a company like this and you need the sisterhood, and then all of a sudden your sponsor goes MIA. It's really hard on you, especially if you don't feel super connected to the people above you. It just kind of depends on the dynamics and what kind of person that you have on your team. Everybody's different. So if you have a sponsor go MIA, reach up. You can do that. But if you are the sponsor and you have anybody underneath you, always be connecting them back to your upline. If you have to take an extended leave of absence for whatever reason. So anyone going for a goal, I like to throw this in here, is to have them do, like, it's so direct sales, guys. So this is like Amway circa 1980s. But vision boards are actually really powerful. And it's because, does anybody not know what a vision board is? You don't know what okay. A vision board is basically a collage that you hang on your wall that has a visual image of all the things that you're working toward. So if it's financial freedom, if it's a specific car, if it's a house, like whatever, it doesn't have to be material things. It could be all time with you and your kids. I just need to be with my kids, or I want to be home, or I want to quit my job, or whatever. You kind of do a collage of all the things that you're working for. so that you can put them together. And I think this is really powerful, especially because, like I said, not all of us, but a lot of us are mothers, even if we're mothers to kitty cats. We're mothers. It is. Bring your family in on this. Like, let your family be a part of your business this way. They're doing this with you. They're making sacrifices along with you. So make those decisions together. Decide these are the things that our family is working for, so that when mommy does have to work a party late night and it sucks and I hate it that I'm not doing this, but I do have to plug into this party for the next 2 hours, remind them of the vision board. This is what we're working for. So when you are okay right now, you're helping mommy work for this for all of us, because we're doing this together. We're working as a family. That is really important. That we're not doing this outside of our families. We're doing this for our families. That goes into that whole boundaries thing too. Make sure you're speaking with your spouses about your the amount of hours that you're working. Honor those hours that you're working. Don't work more than those hours, and really honor your family that way. That's how we do this effectively, and we don't burn our families out, because they're a really big part of this too. And if we are just gone and disappeared all the time, it just doesn't work well. Any of us with toddlers know that they're just this, well, not even toddlers, gosh, any kind of kid, even grown-up kids, sometimes you just have to put it down and just be like, you know what, I'm checking out of business for a while, and this, work hours done, close off to the side. You're not on call for your business. Your business is on call for you. You set the hours. That's why you're doing something like this, is so that you can set your hours. So that's vision boards. Work on it as a family. What are we wanting to work for with this? And then in conjunction with a vision board is just writing out that next promotion in the flow chart that's going to be there. Try hanging it on your wall. Make it on your computer and hang it on your wall. If you have to look at it, like, okay, yeah, I'm going for blue, whatever that looks like. And all the steps that are going to get you to it. So the last thing, I'm really doing good on timing. I'm really proud of myself. I feel like I'm running a marathon with my words. Am I speaking super fast? No. Okay, good. So the next thing I want to talk about is the concept of intensive individual coaching within the people on your team. So like I said, we're going to have people that are our runners. We are going to have people that they're just kind of wanting to see where this goes. They're going to host a few parties, or they're using this product line with their customers. I have girls that are makeup artists that do that. So whatever that looks like, that's fine. But when you have your people who are your really strong teamers, they're really wanting to go far with this, I recommend running a little bit of like an intensive individual coaching with those people. However, I would never take on more than 4 at once, because it's intensive. And again, like I said, the majority of the business of time that you're going to spend in your business is leading your team. So never more than 4. Find like your super ultra amazing rock stars and offer, hey, I'm wanting to do intensive coaching with you. Are you up for this? Remember the tennis match, right? We have to have boundaries in our professional relationships and our personal ones. So if they stop playing with you, they're out for the next month. And if maybe they might have just stuff going on, well, then you take a break. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to move on to the person who is giving me their time and honoring my time. It's okay. No hard feelings. We always distance ourselves before we get frustrated. I always like to say, remind people that we are in a very personal business, and so we don't want to wait until we're like, I cannot stand this girl on my team. She's never at my phone calls on time, and she always shows up distracted. No, wait till it goes there. Just let it be one time. Okay, I'll give you a next chance. Our next meeting, if you're not there on time, I am going to have to move on to somebody else who respects my time right now. That's okay for you guys to have personal boundaries inside of your business, because we have families. We're busy. Every single person is busy. And when somebody else thinks like, oh, well, I'm just really busy. Well, yeah, so am I. And I just carved out an hour of my time. You didn't show up. That sucks. So tennis ball goes over the fence. Sorry, you're out of the program for now until you can prove to me that you're ready to take this seriously. And that's okay. I know, I'm so mean. No, it's totally fine. So,
She's done it with me.
no, I have. I've done it to my own mother. So lay out specific goals on specific timelines for them to meet in between coaching sessions. So that's where I'm saying, like, work on booking 3 parties this week. Well, let's say you get to next week's call and they didn't get 3, but they booked 2. Well, I wouldn't say that's a ball out of the park. That just means awesome. Like, you did a great job. You really tried for that. Let's work on, and then give them a new task that week. So just because somebody doesn't hit it does not mean that they weren't trying. But if somebody's like, well, this thing happened and then my car blew up and then, yeah, that gets back to there will be people who will always have excuses for you, always. So just be aware, again, of the people. There are real life things that come up, and then there are people who, that's why I like to give second chances, because stuff happens, it really does. Make these sessions, like if you're really intensively coaching somebody, a phone call or a video chat, because it's more personal, so that you can really be engaging heart to heart with those people. Make sure that you as their leader honor those times too. Show up on time. Don't have distractions going on. Don't have the kids yelling, or if you have to book them at 10 o'clock once a week, then that's when your kids are in bed. That's what you should do. Make sure that the team member isn't out to eat or has the kids running around or whatever. This is a business meeting. It's an intensive coaching time where you're really carving time out away from your family to do it. So make sure that they're honoring that also. Make sure that this is a one-on-one intensive coaching relationship, and it really takes you and your mentoree to the next level, personal growth-wise, because helping coach somebody through this business, it's really going to take you to the next level as a leader. You're going to learn a lot about how to lead from just diving in. It's not like okay, now I have every possible tool I'll ever need to lead somebody. Let's do this. You learn on your feet. I know I have. You just learn literally like you're running and learning and following and picking it up and all the time. So it really does help take your business to the next level to enter an intensive coaching relationship with somebody. And if they're not honoring your time, I would give them a second chance. If they miss the call again, or they're constantly distracted, or they always have excuses, then they're not a leader right now. They might be later, but that's okay. So let's end this now before I get frustrated. I can smile at you still and just say, it's not right now, but maybe later. I am going to do an in-depth video coming soon about what those sessions could look like. What does coaching somebody really look like? I didn't want to get into that. It's just too intensive for what we're talking about today. The other thing I just briefly want to touch on is the concept of group coaching. As you do get larger, this is what I do. I have my executive team. We do group coaching once a week. And I always say this is a maximum of 5. I have 10 right now, which means that some of my people should be splitting off at this point and doing this with their people. But about the maximum of 5 to 6 rising stars in your team, and do a group coach. So that you have group coach groups, even if you have to break them into segments and you're meeting with them once a week or every other week, if you have to start breaking it down that way. Messaging threads are great for those. Pacing partners are huge for those. I've been talking a lot about pacing partners. That really helps people to run alongside each other, incentivize each other so that you're not always carrying all that weight. But conference calls are great. We always do ours on video hangouts. Like I said, pacing partners, just super briefly, are those with similar goals or just a similar biography. You might be a great pacing partner for somebody who's a green and you're a white, but you're both moms who work full-time in a nursing career and you have so many of the same goals. You both want to be Black. You guys might be great pacing partners. Even though she's already green, you might catch up to her really quick as the white, you never know. So a pacing partner is just a person that you are in regular contact with, that you're running alongside each other, pushing each other forward in this business. So I recommend those for every single person. I have mine. That's something they really encouraged at convention, which is really huge. I think it's huge for any of us. So because it's somebody outside of your sponsor, because there's no financial gain. It's somebody that's not any way, neither of you are benefiting financially from the other. And so it's just a person that you are just straight up we can do this, who sticks with a running regimen that doesn't have somebody running with them, not very many people. So it's really good to have that person with you. And lastly, as I close, I just want to talk about self-management. That is probably the most important aspect of being a leader. Self-management is time management. That's what Becky's going to talk about tomorrow. Because she's learning about it, and the best way we learn is to teach. I'm not even kidding. It's so true.
I knew it.
She is really, really learning it. And just remember that you're a teacher and a coach. So when you're coaching, remove opinion and direction. You're not telling people how to run their business ever. You're just using those questions to draw things out of them. Again, this is a business of self-discovery, but it is a relationship of accountability. So allow them to set the pace, allow them to set the goals, and then hold them accountable to them. Accountability is not telling them what to do, it's just reminding them of what they already told you they were going to do. So keep focused on the objective during your coaching and their goals, not, like I said, not your opinion of their goals, but just let's keep our focus on the goals. Monitor negativity, because we all go through times. We all struggle, man. We all do. Every single one of us do. But monitor the negativity and keep every conversation solution-oriented. So you're having really real problems. Well, how can we brainstorm some solutions to those problems together? Not just, oh man, yeah, that sucks. And that this other time and this other person and this pacing partners, that's really important too, to not ever pull pacing partners down, but always be solution oriented in those relationships also. Eliminate judgments like, yeah, that's a great idea, or I'm so glad you chose that. Nope, just, you're amazing, you can do this, I'm gonna be with you every single step of the way. Positive reinforcements. That's what I just said. That was more of a positive reinforcement. You can do this, and I'm going to be with you every step of the way. That is positive reinforcement. Avoid distractions in those conversations. You may be really good friends. You may get along really, really well. So this other day, and all of a sudden, oh gosh, we're going to talk for an hour, and we just talked about my cat for an hour. That's not overly effective. So avoid distractions in those conversations. Focus on the purpose. Let's get you blue. How are you going to get there? And coaching really is just listening. It's aiding to discovery and just being genuinely curious, genuinely caring about the people on your team. Self-managing your time and setting the pace, being that pace car, getting out in front of people, leading by running with them. Trusting yourself, learning from experience, and there is no failing at this. There's only learning and growing. You are not failing unless you quit. How many people say that? All the time. You will never fail at this unless you quit. And so you are constantly learning. I am constantly learning, and we're learning together. And so there's absolutely no failing at leadership. You're growing and learning together all the time. So that is done. It is 8 o'clock on the dot. I'm really proud of that.